The internet did not just react this week, it exploded. Because while one woman walked through the streets of Italy being treated like a future queen the public had been waiting years to embrace again, another woman thousands of miles away was staring at a screen watching carefully crafted brand videos collapse into mockery in real time. And suddenly, after years of noise, interviews, documentaries, accusations, victim narratives, dramatic exits, and endless attempts to control the royal storyline, the entire argument came down to one brutal side-by-side comparison the world could not stop talking about. One woman walked into a room and children ran toward her without hesitation. The other uploaded another polished lifestyle performance, and the internet immediately sensed the distance between the image and the reality. That contrast, that devastating contrast, is why royal insiders are quietly calling this week a disaster for Meghan Markle and a complete victory lap for Catherine, Princess of Wales. Because what happened in northern Italy did not feel staged. It did not feel rehearsed. It felt real. And that is exactly why it hit people so hard. Catherine arrived in Reggio Emilia alone. No Prince William beside her. No glamorous red carpet distraction. No Hollywood-style spectacle. Just Catherine stepping out for a serious working visit focused on early childhood education research. Yet the reaction outside looked like the arrival of a global superstar. Crowds screamed. People reportedly traveled 3 hours just to see her. Grown adults were crying. Children were reaching for her. And suddenly, the world remembered something many people had quietly forgotten during her absence last year. Catherine does not need to demand attention. Attention follows her naturally because people trust her. That is the difference nobody can fake. And here is where things become almost painfully symbolic. Catherine's project was not glamorous. It was not built around celebrity culture or viral branding. She was there studying childhood development, learning, listening, observing educators, discussing the science behind the early years of a child's life. This is not flashy work. It does not generate instant headlines. It is patient work, long-term work, serious work. And yet somehow this quiet, focused visit generated more genuine public emotion than years of carefully orchestrated Sussex publicity campaigns. Think about how devastating that comparison really is. Then came the moment that changed the entire atmosphere of the tour. Catherine began speaking Italian with the children. Fluent Italian. Natural Italian. Suddenly, the crowd realized this was not a royal pretending to connect with the culture for a few photo opportunities. Catherine had actually lived in Florence before university. She understood the language. She understood the warmth of Italian family culture. And Italians responded instantly because authenticity travels across borders faster than any PR campaign ever could. And then the financial reporting started resurfacing at exactly the wrong moment. Reports claiming the Sussex household requires around $6 million annually just to maintain their Montecito lifestyle. Massive security costs, mortgage payments, staffing, endless operational expenses. Suddenly, people started looking at the As Ever brand not as a fun side project, but as a desperate commercial necessity. And that changes how audiences interpret everything. Because when viewers sense urgency behind the branding, the performance becomes even more visible. At the exact same time Catherine was being praised for dignity, seriousness, and restraint, stories surrounding the Sussex operation were becoming increasingly chaotic. Netflix projects cooling off, Spotify gone, sponsorship questions surrounding Invictus resurfacing again, corporate partners quietly stepping away, allegations circulating from investigative reporting. And even when some claims remain disputed, the pattern itself is becoming impossible for observers to ignore. Sponsors leaving, public trust weakening, public sympathy fading. That is why Italy mattered so much, because it was not just another successful royal tour. It became a visual answer to a question that has haunted the monarchy since Harry and Meghan left. What actually gives royal figures lasting public power? Celebrity? Victimhood? Media attention? Viral headlines? Or something quieter? Consistency, dignity, service, and emotional reliability over time. And for many people watching Catherine in Italy, the answer suddenly became crystal clear. She did not give emotional interviews attacking family members. She did not publicly weaponize her illness. She did not build her identity around grievance. Even during one of the darkest periods of her life, while privately battling cancer treatment, she remained calm, measured, and deeply restrained. And people remember that. They remember how the internet spiraled into conspiracy theories while she stayed silent, protecting her children. They remember how she eventually addressed the public with dignity instead of rage. That memory followed her into Italy, which is why the emotional response felt so overwhelming. Now the palace is preparing for the next major chapter, Australia. And insiders already know exactly what the public will do. They will compare it directly to Harry and Meghan's controversial Australia tour. Every gesture, every crowd interaction, every headline, every image, and William and Catherine will not need to attack anyone publicly because the comparison will quietly make itself. That is the real nightmare for Meghan Markle. Not criticism, not tabloid headlines, but contrast. Because contrast is impossible to argue with once people have emotionally made up their minds. And this week in Italy, the world looked at Catherine standing among cheering crowds, speaking Italian, embracing children, radiating calm confidence after one of the hardest years of her life, and many people suddenly realized they were not watching a celebrity. They were watching a future queen fully step back into her role while the entire internet watched in stunned silence. And this is where the entire royal argument suddenly becomes bigger than Catherine, bigger than Meghan, bigger even than Harry himself, because what unfolded in Italy exposed something the palace has understood for centuries but modern celebrity culture still refuses to accept. Public affection cannot be bullied into existence. It cannot be purchased with Netflix deals, manufactured through glossy branding, or emotionally extracted through endless public grievance. It has to be earned slowly, painfully, consistently over years while people watch how you behave when the cameras are both on and off. And right now, whether Meghan likes it or not, the public believes Catherine earned it. That is why the reaction online felt almost emotional, almost protective. People were not simply complimenting Catherine's clothes or admiring a royal appearance. They were reacting to survival. Think about the timeline for a second. Less than a year ago, social media was drowning in conspiracy theories about her health, her marriage, her disappearance, her appearance, her body. The internet treated a woman privately battling cancer like she was part of some entertainment mystery people deserved access to. And through all of that humiliation, all of that speculation, Catherine never lashed out publicly. She never weaponized her pain. She never turned herself into a professional victim. She disappeared quietly, protected her children, handled her treatment privately, and returned only when she was ready. That silence now looks incredibly powerful in hindsight, because while everyone else was screaming online, she was simply enduring. And the public noticed something else in Italy too. Catherine looked genuinely happy again. Not performatively happy, not look at me thriving happy. Real happiness, relaxed smiles, comfortable body language, natural interactions. There was an ease around her that had been missing during the difficult months before her diagnosis became public. Suddenly, royal commentators started openly saying what palace insiders had reportedly been whispering for weeks. Catherine is back, fully back. And the timing could not possibly be worse for Meghan Markle, because at the exact moment Catherine's public image is becoming stronger than ever, the Sussex brand appears increasingly unstable. Now, the vow renewal rumors are swirling again. Reports suggesting Meghan wants a second wedding ceremony because the first royal wedding somehow did not give the couple the experience they truly deserved. And that idea alone triggered eye rolling across the internet because people immediately remembered the scale of that original event. Billions watching worldwide, a royal carriage, a globally televised ceremony inside St. George's Chapel, international media coverage unlike almost anything modern celebrity culture has ever seen. Yet somehow the narrative now being floated is that it still was not enough, and people are beginning to see a pattern. Every major Sussex project eventually circles back to the same message: the world failed to appreciate us properly the first time. But here is where things start becoming genuinely dangerous for the Sussex image long term. The monarchy itself is not fighting back. William and Catherine are not giving interviews attacking Harry and Meghan. King Charles is not publicly humiliating them. The institution is doing something much more devastating instead. It is simply continuing forward calmly while the contrast grows larger on its own. That is why Italy hit so hard emotionally. Nobody needed to explain the comparison. The comparison was visible instantly. Catherine walking through crowds focused on children research and public service, while Meghan uploaded another heavily stylized lifestyle campaign. One image created admiration, the other created exhaustion, and insiders reportedly already know Australia will intensify this even further, because Australia matters symbolically now. Harry and Meghan's earlier tour there became surrounded by controversy afterward, including questions about behavior, spending, and attitude. So when William and Catherine arrive there soon, the public will automatically compare the tone, the warmth, the purpose, the crowd reactions, and the overall atmosphere. The palace understands this perfectly. They do not need revenge. They do not need retaliation. Time itself is slowly doing the work for them. The brutal truth Meghan reportedly still cannot fully accept is this: attention is not the same as affection. Meghan still generates headlines constantly. People still talk about her nonstop. But attention fueled by controversy behaves differently from affection built on trust. One fades quickly and demands constant feeding. The other deepens quietly over decades. Catherine's Italy tour proved which one lasts longer. And maybe that is why this week felt so final to many royal watchers. Because for the first time since Meghan, millions of people looked at both women side by side and emotionally chose their future queen without hesitation. Not because the palace ordered them to, not because the media forced them to, but because one woman spent 20 years building trust while the other spent years trying to control perception. And eventually, the public always senses the difference. That image from Italy is not going away anytime soon. Catherine laughing with children, speaking Italian effortlessly, crowds screaming her name through the streets, looking healthier, stronger, calmer after surviving the darkest chapter of her life. Meanwhile, Meghan's carefully constructed brand machine keeps growing louder while somehow feeling emptier at the exact same time. And that is why palace insiders reportedly believe the real royal turning point may have already happened quietly this week in northern Italy, while the rest of the world was only beginning to realize it.